Welcome once again to Capital Conversation with State Representative Bruce Vogel from District 13B. Spring was a little late getting here this year, but that hasn't stopped lawmakers at the Capitol from tackling a wide variety of issues. Today we will look at some of the highlights of the 2011 legislative session. We will do so with the help of District 13B State Representative Bruce Vogel of Willmar. It is the first year of the biennium here in Minnesota, so that means the main task lawmakers have to do is develop a new two-year budget for the fiscal year that begins on July 1st of this year. The latest budget forecast projects a 9% increase in state revenues. Now the problem is the other side of the ledger. If left unchecked, state spending would jump by 22% in the next budget cycle. In specifics, that would mean a $5 billion budget deficit for the state of Minnesota.
Well, we've got about a week left of session here, where it's actually 1 week from today that we'll end session. So, we've had a lot of things going on, and we're very, I'm very excited about what's been happening. I think we've made some good progress. We've passed a lot of bills through. Contrary to what you might be hearing out there from the mainstream press, I think we have done a good job. We've had our budget bills actually passed off of the House floor and into conference committee for about the last 6 weeks. Actually, and we had been asking the governor to come and sit down with us and work with us on trying to come to a solution on all of these budget bills, so that we believe that we could come together, find some solutions so that he would sign the bill that comes out of the conference committee. And so I've been very excited about that. I'm on one of the conference committees, been working on the Judiciary and Public Safety Conference Committee, and I think today we'll have our final bill all done and out of there as well, but we've got most of the other ones out over the past weekend. And so we're beginning to have an opportunity to have the governor look at those and hopefully get back to us now in the next day or two, and we can hopefully come to an agreement. Contrary to what you might hear out there, this is not an all cuts budget. We have been, when I ran on the line that we can't spend more than we take in. And I believe that that's the case. And I want to hold true to that. We are looking at spending $34 billion this biennium. And that's up from just about $31 billion the last biennium. So we've increased spending 9%. But we're not spending more than what we're taking in, and which is, I think, the key part of this. And in many of the bills, we have a lot of reform in there, which will, in the long run, I believe it's going to save us money as taxpayers. We're going to be able to change the way government works a little bit. We're also looking at downsizing government. I'm hopeful that the bill that 15 by 15, which is the 15% reduction in the state workforce by the year 2015. I'm hopeful that bill is going to pass and be signed by the governor, because we need to look at downsizing. And the main thing with that is we're not looking to lay off government employees through just releasing them, but it's more of we're looking at not filling positions that as people retire, we'll leave those positions sit empty and not refill those. So that'll help downsize our government as well.
So, lawmakers proposed a $34 billion general fund budget. That would balance the books, and it would use the projected increase in revenue to boost funding in certain areas. Now, some bureaucrats in St. Paul say that's not enough. They want more money from Minnesota taxpayers, and therein lies the problem.
Well, when you look at what the governor wants to do, he wants to increase spending by about 23%, over the next 2 years. And we believe that that's just unsustainable. And that's when you hear this $5 billion deficit, that's counting on that 23%, 22, 23% increase in spending by our governor. And we believe that we just can't do that. They want to spend $37 billion. We were originally at $32 billion, and that's where they came up with the $5 billion difference. We've already came basically halfway from the last biennium at $31 billion. We're up to $34 billion. So we believe we've already come up halfway to meet the governor at where he wanted to be. And so, yeah, I think the governor is kind of unrealistic in what he's wanting. And, we know that we can't continue to raise taxes on the hardworking people of Minnesota. Minnesota continues to be, even after Governor Pawlenty had been here for 8 years and we didn't see any increase in income taxes, he didn't want to increase taxes, we still are rated number 7 in the country as the highest tax state, states in the country. So we're still right up towards the top on that. So we can't continue to raise taxes.
With an eye on fiscal responsibility, Representative Vogel and his colleagues thought this would be a good time to reform state government, cut the excess, streamline services, make government more efficient. In this session, we saw reforms in many areas.
Yes, we have. I really think that, in the K-12 education, I know we've got some real major reforms in there. We're looking at, redoing the way that the schools are funded and all of that. And I think that's going to make a big difference. We're, in our area, we're looking at, we'll probably have $20 to $40, I believe, more per student coming in. It's not quite as much as what I was hoping for. I know that. We were hoping to have a bigger reduction to some of the Tier 1 or the metro cities, Class 1 cities. They continue to get about $14,000 per student. But, we're making some reforms there, some major reforms in K-12. So that's, I think, going to have some positive effects in the long range.
One major reform this session is voter ID, and we may see it on the ballot next November as a constitutional amendment. It's simple. Do you want to change the Constitution to require somebody to show a valid Minnesota ID when they go to vote?
That absolutely is. And, I don't know how the governor could not sign this bill. It's a good bill. We're looking at, 80%, at least about an 80% of the people want to see this done. And, yes, there is a small price tag on this, small comparison when you're comparing to a $34 billion budget, where the estimates are around $4 billion, 3 to 4 million, not billion, million dollars to implement this. But it's going to be a positive thing. I think the people of Minnesota want to know that we have a positive, trustworthy election system. And and you're going to hear, well, this is a solution in search of a problem, but I don't believe that at all. We've seen issues where 23,000 registration cards came back the last time as either undeliverable, no such address, no such person. So even if you just take half of those and say, well, half of those are, because people move or this or that, still that's 12,000 or whatever, 11, 12,000 votes or voters. That's a lot of people. And so it's going to be, I think it's a very positive thing. We're excited to have that move forward, definitely so.
Lawmakers proved this session that they can study a number of issues at once. A case in point, Representative Bruce Vogel. While he's keeping tabs on the budget and on public safety, agriculture, transportation, you name it, he was also able to work on a couple of local bills brought to him by his friends and neighbors in Wilmer.
I've actually had two bills that I authored have been passed off the floor, and one has already been signed into law. The second one is coming back. We just got to agree to the language. We had a little conference on it that's going to come back to the week and will be passed off. And I'm sure the governor will sign it. It's actually part of the transportation omnibus bill The first bill I did have, though, that passed off was the liquor sales at the stadiums, baseball stadiums, for just the summer league collegiate teams. So it's not, there was some misinterpretation out there that this was going to take away concessions from different groups like the VFW or the Legions or whoever are doing something. It's not that at all. This applies strictly to the towns that have this summer league collegiate baseball teams there. And it just says that, now they can actually sell beer, strong beer and wine, and not just the 3-2 beer, because there was a lot of stuff in there. The thing is that the owners would have to order for the entire season before the season started how much beer they were going to need for the season. So they estimate that and order that, and if you get a few rainouts, you end up at the end of the season being stuck with some, because the distributors won't take it back when it's over. So, yeah, I think it was just a helpful bill for these baseball teams. And I know in Wilmer, we love the Stingers. We were blessed enough to have one of the players live with us last summer, and we had a great time going to the games, as many as we could get to, running for the campaign and all of that. But just a fun thing. The house was, always a good crowd. There was a nice crowds at the Stingers games. So we just believe it's going to be, just a little bit better for the owners and stuff like that.
And Representative Vogel also did something that last year's legislature was unable to do. He and other rural lawmakers worked out a solution to the problems that were created in the Green Acres program a few years ago.
Yep, it was. And, the governor has already signed that into law. So we worked hard on that. In fact, we spent 3 days in the Ag Committee hashing over all the details on this thing to come up with a bill that we all could live with. We had both sides of the aisle working on it in the committee. And, we came out with a good bill that's going to help our farmers out, I believe. It's going to help out businesses as well. Those that have some land and has been put into different qualifications or sections. So, yeah, it was a great bill. Glad to get it out. The governor signed it. Another one of those bipartisan things that we had. And another bipartisan bill that came out last week that we voted out was the Environment Energy Bill, policy bill that had the AIS, the Aquatic Invasive Species bill in it as well, included in that. And so that's really important to our area out there with all the lakes and the tourism that we get in Candiotwai County. So it has some real teeth in it. We're going to be allowing for some heavier fines, more inspections, checking out. We got to stop this zebra mussel spread, that's for sure. So had some funding in that for some decontamination stations, and more funding for the DNR to work on this thing, because we believe and we know that we have to stop this. And there again, big bipartisan effort passed off the floor on a 95-37 vote. So you can look at it, even if the governor decided to veto this bill. That is we've got the numbers to override a veto if we needed to. But I believe the governor wants to sign this. Hopefully that bill is going to come out of the conference committee today and get to the governor's desk so we can get it signed right now.
So his first session was a rather hectic one for Representative Bruce Vogel, but he says he is never too busy to meet with the people of District 13B, whether it's at the Capitol or back home in Candiotwai County.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch the show. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Very humbled to be able to be up here this year. It was a great experience so far for me, this session. And, I've come to find, there's a lot of work here. I knew it was going to be hard work. And when I ran, I said, I'd work hard, I'd learn fast, and I'd stay true to my outstate roots. And I believe I've continued to do that. I've done that here. I really appreciate all the support from the folks back in the district. And I look forward to wrapping things up in a week and getting back home and seeing you constituents and you people and spending some time over the summer and the next year with you. Thanks again for watching.
Thanks for watching Capital Conversation with State Representative Bruce Vogel from District 13B.